Hey guys, Lisa Callaghy here to share with you a video on how to use the Standards Mastery Report with your students in Reading Eggs to help you determine students that may need extra support in a specific skill in reading. All right, let's get started. So here I am on a teacher's homepage in Reading Eggs. And coming over to the left-hand side menu bar, I'm going to, under Reading Eggs, select the Reports drop-down menu. And from here, I'm going to scroll down and click on the Skills Mastered Report. Okay, so let's start out at the top. First, I just want you to see that you do have the ability to choose a date range. And this might be important, especially if you're looking at skills that either you just taught or skills that are going to be coming up that you will be teaching, to get an idea of how students have done within Reading Eggs on those specific skills, or kind of get like a look into a crystal ball if possible, if students are up to the skills that you will be teaching. And you could see who might have difficulty with these skills and which students will probably do well. So let's take a look. Here below this date range, you'll see that we have a tab called Skilled Masters. And below, you'll see results per student. So you're going to see your class here. And if you have more, I believe there's 10 per page. And then you have a page 2. So don't forget to click over to page 2 if it looks like you're missing students. So the other thing I want to show you before we jump into the actual report is that if you're trying to look for a specific student, you can just find a student right up here by typing their name in this find place. Okay, so let's take a look. So what are we looking at? We're looking at students' first and last names, and then the highest lesson that they've completed in Reading Eggs. And then above the actual tabs, you're going to see what the colors mean within this report. So if you see any squares that are gray, that means a student tested above in their placement test, so they do not need to practice that skill. They do not need to go on to Reading Eggs and practice that skill. They know that skill. And then the dark green are skills that the students worked on in Reading Eggs and were able to pass the quiz at the end of that skill on their first attempt. Then the light green is where the students worked on a skill, but it took them either the second or third attempt to pass the quiz at the end of that skill. And then obviously the red is the not pass skill. So after the third attempt, if they didn't pass, they get a not passed. All right, so let's look. We're looking at below that, we're looking at the kindergarten lessons, first grade and second grade. Remember, Reading Eggs only goes up to second grade. Reading Express would have the third grade, but Reading Express doesn't have this report. So for third grade students, it's different reports that I have either created a video on or will be creating videos on. Mostly it would be comprehension and Lexile level growth. All right, so kindergarten. So we have some students here that fell into the actual first lesson in the kindergarten level after they took their placement test, and they didn't even pass, which is kind of strange because it looks like all the other skills in kindergarten, at least for this first student, because kindergarten, okay, so up to lesson 41, the student placed above, tested above. So that looks a little strange to me, but you can always take a look by clicking on the student and diving deeper. But before we do that, I just want to keep scrolling across so that you could see all the skills that are correlated to lessons within Reading Eggs. So this skill, the letter V, correlates to lesson 21 within Reading Eggs, okay? So that way you're able to see what's going on with the students, how well they're doing or not doing within certain skills and lessons, and you could provide them some support. So kindergarten goes up to lesson 50, and then don't forget that you have to go over to your second page to see the rest of your students and scrolling to the left and right to see all of the skills that are within kindergarten grade reading eggs. Then you can tab over to grade 1, and those are lessons 51 to 100. And again, I'm on page 2. You could take a look at how your students are doing in the skills for second grade in reading eggs, and coming over to page 1 and see how well your students are doing there. Okay? And then again, lesson grade 2. Make sure you're scrolling up. Grade 2 is only lesson 101 to 120. So you're looking at all of the skills here and then tabbing over to the next group of students. So it looks like we have one student in this class that is actually working within lessons within grade 2 within reading eggs. Okay, now say for example, let me go back to the kindergarten. Say for example, we're looking here and this student is struggling, okay, in certain skills, right? So let's take a deeper dive here. So what we can do is we can click on this student's name, and now we're getting a specific report for this student in reading eggs. And this again is from the beginning of the school year to now. You can narrow that search down or that date range down to get more information within a specific time period. But this is their entire school year to the last day that they worked in reading eggs. So we're looking at Lexile levels and growth, highest Lexile level completed, and their growth. You're seeing their reading lessons right here. You see their reading lessons, and if you even want to see a more detailed report about their reading lessons, you can click here, and it's going to show you on the specific map, right? And it's going to tell you the skills and how well they did, whether the answers were correct or incorrect for comprehension skills, and then high frequency words, phonics, and word recognition, right? And it's showing you the date for this student, and you could see it keeps going. So you could do 3, page 7, map 7, you're going to get some information. This is January 27th. He got 12 out of 15 correct, and his attempts, he had 3 attempts. Okay, so you get more information about that student's reading progress. So I'm going to go back, okay, and it's showing you here a different way, the progress, their initial lesson score, their highest lesson score, their total lessons completed, and total lessons mastered. The dates they took the placement test and the lessons that they landed on. So it looks like this student did improve from September, because when he took the placement test on September 16th, he landed in lesson 11, which is kindergarten. And then when he took the placement test in January, he landed on lesson 61, which is first grade, because kindergarten goes up to lesson 50. So he did improve. Now you could see some recent activities, the lessons, and the scores on the quizzes. It will even give you areas of weakness over the entire school year, or again, if you choose to narrow down the date range. So you can see specifically here the lessons that the student had difficulty in. You can see how many books that they've read between fiction and nonfiction, and how many words were read within those 2 areas. And then you could see their recent activity within books read. And you could see the Lexile level of the book. Then if they did do spelling lessons, you could see a detailed report of spelling lessons here. This student doesn't look like they've taken any spelling lessons. They took a placement test in spelling. It looks like he landed on lesson 1. And the lesson is ants, but I don't think he didn't do any activity in spelling since he took the placement test. Coming back up, you could see how many certificates the student earned, the map quizzes, the progress, number of quizzes, his end of map quiz score, how many attempts, and his recent activity in quizzes. The driving test doesn't look like he's worked in the driving test, but that will tell you his score in these areas of sight words, letters and sound content words, and total test mastered. And you can get a detailed report on that if he did. Looks like he did do sight words and he scored a 30%. Storylands, he didn't do any activities, and that's it. So, what is this? Assignments with writing assignments. He doesn't have any data to display. So this is a way that you can look deeper into a student that you are concerned with within the Skills Mastered report. Okay, so I have created videos on how you can support students in these specific skills and lessons. So you can look through those reports on how you could use the teacher library. You can use lessons within Reading Eggs. You could use the printable section. You can use Reading Catch-Up. So I do videos on each one of those separately so you can see how you can use Reading Eggs to support your students that seem to be having difficulty in specific skills. All right, guys, I hope this helped. Have a great day.